Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wholesaling the Cool Way with Mark Cool and Jasper Cool. Jasper's coming to you from his new place in Scottsdale, Arizona. See the boxes and the shelves behind in the brand new office. So it's exciting. We were just chatting about that offline a little bit. And I'm here in North Carolina in Efland on a rainy day in the tiny house. This is our podcast about wholesaling. We've both been doing this for 3 or 4 years, and me specializing in land and Jasper in houses, but we both overlap a little bit on the other side and do some creative financing and other things as well. So we like to share our journeys and our experiences, victories, challenges, tools, tips, and tricks, some stories from the field, and war stories about deals we're doing and have done. And hopefully it benefits anybody who's listening and maybe entertains a little bit even. And you can always let us know if you have any questions or you want any resources that we've talked about that you can't find, or if there's anything you'd like to see us address on a future episode. We're happy to hear any feedback. But we'll jump right in. Normally we jump in with any inspiration or education, like podcasts, books, different things that have inspired us this week, and then we'll roll into the business part of things, talking about wholesaling. Jasper, you up for starting off with inspiration and education?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so as he mentioned, we were moving this week, so I didn't get quite as much as I normally would in terms of content consumption and reading and stuff. But I did listen to Alex Hormozi podcast, of course. If anybody's been listening to us before, you know we both really enjoy his content and stuff. So he was actually on the Iced Coffee Hour, which is another podcast that I really like. And so I think this is like his third or fourth time on there, but I've listened to each episode and I've enjoyed them.
Yeah, I've listened to the other ones too.
Yeah, and so this one was, great as always. And there's a bunch of stuff that I could delve into, but it's probably similar to what we've talked about before and what people might who listen to him might be familiar with. But one thing that stood out to me in terms of inspiration, which I thought was just awesome, was that he bought the UFC headquarters in Las Vegas. Because for people that don't know, he lives in Las Vegas. But up until now, they've been working from home. I think they have like a nice condo or something, but he bought the old UFC headquarters, which is 36,000 square feet, and it's
Wow.
3 stories. Yeah, 3 stories at 12,000 square feet, and just a huge, huge building. There's like an underground parking, I think, as well.
Wow.
And he was just sharing with those guys, but I was just so inspired by that. And also, he's making one floor a gym. The entire 12,000 square feet is just a gym. And I was like, that is awesome. And he was just sharing, like, they've already got a ping pong table in there. I didn't even know he likes ping pong, but they were talking about they got a ping pong table in there, and they play ping pong a bunch. And he was just sharing some of the perks that he's found already since buying this place, of having an office and just having his team come there, and just the camaraderie and stuff. Because he was kind of a big proponent of the opposite effect, just working from home, and like, I don't want to go to the office. Like, everything about his life is just like kind of optimized for work, which is just like he would literally wake up, drink a coffee, go sit in his closet and work, and not even like with an official office. But now he's got an official office, so I thought that was awesome. And they talked about a bunch of other good things. They talked about his marriage dynamic with his wife, which I enjoyed that conversation, and a bunch of other things. But anyways, that was a super inspiring episode. So for anyone who's listening who might be interested, if you just search up Iced Coffee Hour and Alex Hormozi, I'm sure you'll find it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then I saw another video of his that they posted, that Alex posted, which was kind of like a day in the life type video. And I think they were in San Diego, I believe. And he was speaking at an event for actually a real estate company called Real. And I think Steve Trang's involved in that company. But either way, they were speaking at like a conference for a bunch of the employees of the company, or the realtors, because it's like just a brokerage made up of a bunch of realtors. But they know the CEO of that company, and it's actually, you would remember him, Shravan Savatsa. He started this company. It's now huge. It's probably the biggest real estate company in space right now for.
I tried to apply the blur on my background. I think that took up too much bandwidth for the computer to work.
Okay. I just didn't know if you could still hear me because it froze.
No, it cut out. You were talking about the real estate company, the biggest one in the space, and then it muddled a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was just talking about, he was speaking at this conference. It was Sharon Srivatsa. He made this new brokerage called Real, and it's a really big brokerage, but he did a talk for them. And so this day in the life was kind of just showing, how he prepares for the talk and kind of just them walking around San Diego, kind of giving advice. And then also it showed like how many people stop him on the street or just say something in passing to him on the street and like how recognizable he's become. And he was kind of sharing about that. And yeah, really cool. I really enjoyed that, kind of seeing the behind the scenes, and also very inspiring to see them. The way they travel is just they just pull up to the tarmac, they just hop on their plane, and they just take off. And
Yeah.
I love that. So that's always inspiring for me to see. And then lastly, I didn't listen to it yet or watch it yet, but I started it like 5 minutes in. But he posted that talk from that thing I just mentioned. He posted the full talk on his YouTube yesterday, I believe. And it's like 45-minute long speech to real estate agents. So I'm excited to listen to that because I think it could directly apply to us. Because he doesn't even said it in that day in the life thing. He's like, I hardly ever speak to real estate people, so I don't really know what to say. But I'm excited to listen to that talk and see kind of how he gave them like tactical advice for real estate. So, but yeah, that's it for me. Just those two things, really.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah, for me, let's see. Well, I've been at your recommendation, Jasper. I've been listening to that Morgan Housel book about what is it, Same as Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a really great book about just historical patterns and how people are wired to. It's kind of like that book, Predictably Irrational, where people, what you would think people would focus on is different than what they actually focus on. Even the concept of, like he said, people are motivated not by greed, but by envy. And that quality of life is based on expectations. And, people's expectations, they don't always confine them to themselves. We don't always confine our expectations to ourselves. We look at what our neighbors are doing and then we think we need to have what they have. And then that makes us unhappy. So like a relational envy, even if you don't necessarily need or want those things, you think you should have them because your neighbor or somebody on TikTok or Instagram or somewhere else has something, or YouTube, so that was interesting. And then the statistical piece that you mentioned to me, Jasper, about how, like, if something has a 1 in a million chance in happening, it's probably happening multiple times every day because there are billions of people on the planet, or just all these different probabilities, just really crazy stuff. And how nobody predicted you can go back to every financial historian and economist and no one can find anyone who predicted the Great Depression, and how people are not prepared for cataclysmic events, even though statistically they happen like once every 10 years or 7 to 10 years, something like that. So, like, you should expect something is going to happen. And same with the stock market and like the power of stories, and like the stock market's driven more by good stories than it is by sound financial advice, which is another irrational thing, but really cool info in there. I love that type of thinking, just out of the box thinking. So been really enjoying that. I've actually been listening to it on audiobook. So it's the narration's great on that too. I recommend that. It's Morgan Housel, Same as Ever. Definitely a good book. I listened to a Steve Trang pod, or a Real Estate Disruptors pod, at the gym the other day, and he does a regular pod with one of his business partners. I can't remember the guy's name right now. The guy started this little side thing where he'll analyze your business for you and tell you what your challenges are and what you need work on. Can't remember the name.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I do. No.
I'll have to put it in the show notes or something, but I made a note of it. I don't think I made a note of it on this yellow pad, but you can like go sign in for an appointment and he'll like do a diagnostic on your business and tell you what he thinks your biggest challenges or growth are for like a 40-minute session. It's one of Treng's partners, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they had a good conversation. The title of the podcast was How Elon Musk Rigs the Game, something like that,
Okay.
Did you listen to that one?
I didn't know.
That was good. They were talking about, and I'm not sure if I got the words right, but just kind of core principles or bringing things back to basics, and just like looking at what your bigger goal is and then trying to break it down into its component parts and stay focused on the right things. And that's what you're
Uh-huh.
saying with Elon Musk is like they use the example of him building a rocket. They use other people as examples too, but like he wanted to build a rocket, so he went to people who had built rockets and they said, "This is the way you build rockets, and this is what it costs." And he was like, "Impossible! It can't cost that much." And they're like, "No, this is the way it's done. This is the way it's always been done. This is what it costs." So he's like, "Okay, break
Yeah.
that down for me. What are the materials that I need? What's the labor process? Blah blah blah." And he just went through it with a fine tooth comb, found all the materials, found the materials wholesale, found and basically he ended up building a rocket for 20% of the cost of what people told him a rocket was going to cost. You know,
Yeah.
and so then the other example they used from Elon of like having your bigger picture, your greater goal as your beacon in the sky and not losing sight of that and letting everything else in your life that you do feed that or be subservient to
Uh-huh.
that is that he wants to go to Mars. That's his biggest thing is colonizing Mars. That's his overarching goal. Everything else is
Yeah.
subservient to that. So Tesla is not really for him about selling cars. Tesla is because he figured out that he needed really advanced battery technology to be able to do everything he wanted to do in the Mars project. And so he figured a big way to do that at scale would be to do a car company running on batteries, figuring out how to
Yeah.
source all the materials and make the most efficient batteries possible and learn everything he could about that through the lens of this car company. But really, Tesla is not about selling cars. It's in service of the Mars project because that's his
That's so cool.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like that kind of thinking of like, here's my big goal. Everything else I'm doing is falling in line behind that. And that's the main thing I'm keeping my eyes on. So that was a cool pod. They talk about some other cool stuff in there. I'd recommend it. This is a fairly short one, 30, 40 minutes, how Elon Musk rigs the game in real estate disruptors.
Nice.
Yeah, and I did some other stuff, but I don't need to go on and on. Those are a couple of good check-ins. I'm still reading Mindset, which is good about fixed versus growth mindsets. I think that author's name is Carol Zwick. And then I'm still reading Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, just chipping away at that. That's inspiring. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Oh, I'll mention one other one. I got the package this week. I was real excited, Jasper. I shared it with you from
Yeah.
Strategic Coach. So I got a package from them, and they shared a few books with me in that package. And one is The Self-Managing Company by Dan Sullivan. So I've been reading that, and that's really great. Just really speaks to me as an entrepreneur. So I think you can find this online if you dig around. But one cool takeaway, and then I'll stop, that I got out of this is the idea of, there are a lot of great takeaways in here, but the company manages everything predictable. When you're talking about a self-managing company, and one example is like maybe the existing cash flow is managed by the company. Like if you're at a certain point with wholesaling and you can make X just with the company the way it is, you can create that all as a self-managing piece. Then you can pull back and do the bigger stuff that's going to create bigger dollars, bigger ideas, the visionary stuff that you got into being an entrepreneur for in the first place,
Uh-huh.
rather than working on the day-to-day stuff of your business. So, yeah, I was going to read, I think there was some, in any business, there's ongoing predictable things happening that can be managed by people other than the entrepreneur. How the existing cash flow is made, for example, might be a predictable process in your organization that doesn't need to involve you. Um, then you can be on the innovative side of certain things. I don't need to read this whole thing, but anyway, I recommend that to the self-managing company, Dan Sullivan. I don't know if that's like exclusive for people who are in the program or if you can find it, but great stuff. I'll share more about it in the future. But yeah, let's transition into the business check-in. Usually we do here just like victories, challenges, some of our KPIs, which are key performance indicators, things like contracts and sold, closed, leads, etc. And then
Yeah.
sometimes we'll do some stories around various things that we've dealt with during the week and any tips and tools that we have. So I wrote it down this week as victories, challenges, KPIs, stories, tips, and tools. So anything like
All right.
you have from your business, uh, feel free to dive in.
Sounds good. Well, I'll start with KPIs. This week was a great week for us. We got out of our contract drought, which has been ongoing the past couple months. But it's funny for November. We kind of lost a couple days in November, but that's no excuse. We ended up with 3 contracts in the whole month,
Wow.
and we got 3 contracts the first week of December. So
That's
that
great.
was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm counting this as our first week because last week of December was only one day, I think.
Yeah.
But either way, we got 3 contracts this week, which is awesome. Just working on getting pictures and stuff for those, and then we'll sell them hopefully next week. And then we got 184 leads, so that's the highest in a long time. It's the highest in like 10 weeks because we had kind of a slowdown with SMS and stuff. And then we got out 43 offers, which is a little bit low, but we still led to 3 contracts, so that's awesome. Did not close any this week, but we do have one scheduled to close next week, which is exciting. That's a good deal that I'm planning to buy myself and then either sell it to my buyer base or probably list it on the market after we close on it. So I'm excited about that one.
Cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for the KPIs. As far as victories, victories. The contracts is awesome. Working with a new attorney has been a victory for me. Just working with Ashley, you know, Ashley. I don't know if I should shout out their name or not, but working with her has been awesome. That's been a contrast from working with some other attorneys this year, but it's been really nice to work with a familiar person, but also a very good attorney too. And even one of my buyers actually complimented me on a recent closed deal on how good they were, and that was nice because they had worked with me on a few other attorneys, and they complimented her and their office. So that was nice to get that. It feels like it lends to more credibility for me when I'm putting myself.
It's a reflection on us, how our attorneys perform and interact with our
Yeah.
customers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gotten, since I started work with her, I don't want to put everything on her, but I've gotten 3 out of the 4 that have closed with her, we've gotten 5-star reviews. So usually we're at like 50%, and that's slightly above that. So see if that continues, but that's been a nice change. So yeah, we got that, and then other victories. PPC launched not this week, but the week before, and we got our first lead this week, which didn't work out, but it's exciting to get our first lead.
Yeah.
And I think I shared in the past, but they say that the average for real estate investor leads is about 1 in 15. So each time I get a lead, I just feel like I'm getting closer and closer to getting a deal by that metric. So I'm excited to have the first lead come in, and still kind of working on getting the process dialed in. So when I do get a lead, I want to make sure that I'm getting like a text notification and making sure that everything is coming directly to me as soon as possible so I can get on that. But I'm excited to learn more about that and get more leads and hopefully turn that into my third marketing channel. That would be nice to have another consistent channel.
Yeah, it's good to have a broad base.
Yeah. And I actually heard about that. I don't know if I shared this before or not, but I heard about this on a CG call. And they said that they recommended that you have a 3-legged stool at the minimum, like work up to that as quickly as you can, because then if one leg falls off, then you still have 2 legs and your stool is wobbly, but it's still standing. Whereas if you have 2 legs, one of those your stool falls over, So they recommended a 3. And then they said, once you get 3 consistent and going, then you want to go for a 6-legged table. So that was the analogies they were using. But they were like, once you get 3 and you're comfortable with those and they're all working well, and they're, like you said, self-managing, and it's not something you have to constantly monitor, then you want to try to build up to a 6-legged table, because think about how firm that is. You could lose 2 legs on a 6-leg table and you're still good to go. So that's what they said. Like most mature companies that are, have been around for a while have six marketing channels that are crushing and cranking out deals. So that was inspiring, something to work towards for sure, because I'm just now cracking into my 3rd channel.
Yeah, so. And we've got 2: direct mail and text. You've got cold calling, PPC, and SMS.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that, and I guess that I could share that in victories as well. It's not like a huge victory, but Launch Control did slightly change their rules again, and so now we can do slightly better campaigns, which is encouraging, because it's not like we can go back to the old days immediately, but it seems like we're slowly building back to close to what it might have used to been, And so I noticed an improved response rate just by 1 or 2% this week, but that adds up when you're sending out thousands. So that was exciting, and also I think that this is how they were able to continue improving. I noticed when you upload a file now, you have to click like where your file came from or something. And so I think that's like how they're improving their templates, because we're doing like the front end. You have to do like an opt-in or whatever. But I'm excited about that. Just sharing that for anyone listening, that launch control is improving slowly but surely. So uh, I'm sticking around for now. But that's your weekly launch control update from me. Uh, I guess that's about it for victories. I know it was a victory for me, at least, to send out Christmas bonuses to my team. I sent them out this past week, and so they received them this week, because I wanted them to receive them in time for actually using it for Christmas, like shopping and helping their families and stuff. So that was super exciting for me to send everyone their bonus and get everyone just super thankful and messaging me and stuff. That was really sweet. And also, my guy Mike, he won the best agent again for November, even though we only had 3 contracts, because I think we closed 4 deals. So I guess it was a slow month for everyone in the company in November, because he won again, and I love that. He's won 7 or 8 out of the 11 months of the year. So he's been
Wow.
crushing it. But I told him we got 2 3-peats this year, or he got 2 3-peats within his own company, because they sent him $500 bonus for like the top agent of the month, and so he's done it three months in a row, twice this year. So I told him next year we got to win every month of the year and just blow everyone out of the water. But that's fun. It's just cool to see uh, how they run their company. Like, I'm inspired by Matt and how they run their company, because I think it's a really good system, and it seems like all the people, at least all the people that I'm working with from his team, they're very happy and they're great workers. So I'm inspired by what they've built over there.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. I'm sure I'll have something else that I forgot that I wanted to tell you about, but I think that's it for victories. The challenges I kind of touched on earlier, but we had a pretty big drought in November. 3 contracts was really low for us, so we were carried a lot from contracts we had in months prior closing. Luckily, because 3 is brutal. But getting 3 this week and already selling 1 that will probably close before the end of the year was awesome to kind of bump up December, because I think I only had 2 closings scheduled for December. So now we're up to 3, and hopefully we'll sell another couple this week. But that was my biggest challenge, just dealing with the lack of contracts and lack of leads and stuff. But as I mentioned, we've gotten much more leads lately, with cold calling really taking off, which is encouraging. For anyone listening, I'll share that. So up until this year, I was loyal to Mojo Dialer, and I was using them since I was calling, and I just never changed because I liked their system and I was just comfortable with it. But I cut cold calling. I tried to double down on texting, and then that bit me in the butt. And so I went back to cold calling, but I switched to a dialer called Ready Mode, and it's been night and day.
Wow.
I literally thought cold calling was dead because it wasn't working for me at all. I switched to Ready Mode dialer, and now we're getting more leads from calling than text every week, and growing. So that's been great. So just sharing that for anyone listening. I have tried actually call tools in the past. I really didn't like that one. I know some people do like it, but for me, it was just it almost looked like a software from like the 1990s. Like the interface was just so old to me, but at the same time very like techie. And I don't want to say like I'm not good at tech, because that's a limiting belief. Everyone can get better at things, but it was very hard for me to understand to use the system. And this Ready
Sometimes
Mode
it's
one
the
is,
system design, though, not the user.
yeah, yeah, this Ready Mode is kind of the best of both worlds, where it has a lot more features and functionality than Mojo Dialer, but still in a fairly easy to use platform. So just sharing that for anyone listening who might be looking to either call yourself or hire cold callers. Another bonus is that Mojo Dialer only dials 3 lines at once. With this one called Ready Mode, you can dial up to 10 at once. So you
Wow.
can, just there, you're getting triple the productivity, because you're dialing 10 lines at once instead of 3. So yeah, that's been good for me so far. So just sharing that for anyone who's maybe getting into calling or hiring some callers. It's also very comparable in price. It's $150 per agent, and Mojo is actually 175, so it's slightly cheaper per
Wow.
agent. Yeah.
That's great.
Uh, yeah. So
Always nice to upgrade and pay less.
I know, that's awesome. So yeah, I guess that's about it for me. I don't have any necessarily stories to share this week. because we didn't close anything this week. So typically I'll share kind of a breakdown when we close something. But I can just turn it over to you. Hopefully we'll have a closing next week, and I can dive into that one a bit.
All right. Well, thanks for checking in. That's some good stuff there. The information about the dialer is great, for anybody who's looking at different dialers. I think I tried
Yeah.
Mojo when I first started, but I never really got into the cold calling thing. I'm still on the two-legged stool with the direct mail and SMS, but I got very burned this year by having too many eggs in the basket of SMS, and it really affected our lead flow and our overall revenue for the year because we had put too much in that basket. So definitely a good thing to think about, having multiple marketing channels. I know that when you're just starting out, you probably just are going to work one, but once you get one working and you have the budget to start a second one, good idea to do it. And then a third. Yeah. But yeah, as far as my week goes, let's see, we sold 2 this week, so that was great.
Nice.
Yeah. We closed one. It was an owner finance deal. We got one contract, a vacant lot in Wilson, North Carolina. And then, I guess those are the main KPIs. I don't always check in about offers and leads and all that stuff, but we're working SMS and direct mail right now. We have 2 SMS platforms, and then we had a direct mail campaign that ran this week. We got some leads from. So I don't have that stuff in front of me, and I don't pull it up as quickly as Jasper does. But I know we had a pretty good lead flow this week between our SMS platforms. Similar thing with Launch Control. We've still been using another platform for SMS called Smarter Contact because we've been able to communicate in the old-fashioned way where we can just reach out to sellers and ask them if they want to sell their property and not have to do stuff. But like I said, I have the same experience where I got the email that said, hey, good news, you can kind of go back to the old way, but with these exceptions or these, caveats. So that's good news because the launch control platform is superior as far as user interface, in my opinion. But the smarter contacting, we've been getting a much higher response rate. So we've stayed with that. So if launch control continues to improve the response rate, then we'll probably taper off of smarter contact, but just keep it as a backup with the lowest level account. And then we're doubling down on direct mail going into this year, and I'll probably look into another channel just to continue on the marketing channel discussion. But so we sold. What did we sell? We sold the lots in. I guess these are in Sampson County, North Carolina. It was 2 lots we had packaged as one. We bought for $3,000 and sold for $12,000. So that's a $9,000 profit. It's an owner finance deal. So then that's another, I don't know what that'll turn out to be, but we charge 10% right now. So it'll be more than a $9,000 profit. It'll be 10 or 11 or 12, depending on the term and how much they're paying and everything. I don't have that number at my fingertips, but it's a good thing. I've talked before about owner finance deals. It's super easy to do. You just mark it as an owner finance deal. You set your own minimum for what you'll do in terms of down payment and monthly payments. And then I normally just ask people, hey, what can you put down and what can you pay monthly? I don't give them a number first. And then people will tell me what they can put down and what they can pay monthly. And if it works for me, I'll say great. And if it doesn't, I'll say, well, we have to get at least this because I've already set my minimum in my mind of what, and normally my minimum down payment will be, what we've got into the property. So on a property like this, if we're selling it for 12, I'd want them to put down 3 because that's what it's costing us. And then I'm kind of at break even going into the deal. And then, their monthly payments are just starting to pay equity right away. So that's normally the way I frame it. But, you get an attorney, it's really easy to put together the paperwork. It's just a promissory note and a deed of trust and the HUD statement. And, it's pretty simple. And then the only thing you have to worry about is when they pay off the loan, you have to get a satisfaction of lien. Because if you don't do that, as Jasper and I have shared before, you run into somebody else trying to close a property in the future and there's still a lien on the property because the person didn't file some inspection. So anyway, that was a sidebar of how easy owner finance deals are to do. We sold another one. I'm looking at it's Harwick. I don't know what the story with this is. I see it if I can pull it up really quickly. Looks like we bought this for $4 and we're selling it for 12 or 13. No, more than that. 15. See if it'll load. Anyway, this one, it looks like we're selling for 14 or 15, and we bought it for 4. So same deal, like a 10K profit. I think this is an assignment deal. That's what I was trying to find really quickly.
Nice.
But yeah, the profit on this will be about 11. Bought a piece of vacant land for 3,700, selling it for 14.9. So
Nice.
bada bing, bada boom. That's a nice little thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty readily available with vacant land. You just, as the saying goes, you make your money when you buy. So we're just focused in on making sure we have a minimum profit for every offer we make, and we know what the most we'll pay for a deal is in terms of what we want to make. So, and then we closed one. I already mentioned that, right? We closed the owner finance deal, so that one closed this week. And again, I don't know if I can pull it up super quickly, but it'll be the same type of deal. We'll probably be making in the 10 to 15,000 range on an owner finance deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Seller, I know the seller put down. This is the thing is, like, I'm working toward having a self-managing business, so I don't know what's going on in a lot of departments of my business down to the granular. I have to get people to tell me, or I have to look it up. So that's a good thing, because like the disposition team could tell me exactly how much profit we're making on this. Transactions can tell me, like acquisitions can tell me, but I don't always know all the details. But I know that we're making money and we're doing well. So that's good.
Yeah.
Another thing I did this week, which is a little bit different than what we normally talk about, is we got this property that was a mobile home that we decided to buy because we thought it would be a good profit. And I put it on the MLS this week. So Jasper, this is a referral I got from you for a flat fee MLS. I just listed that up there. We had 2 agents show it. I listed it up this week. We had 2 agents show it on Friday and an agent show it on Saturday. And she's bringing an offer today, the 3rd agent. So sometimes it's worth it to put things on MLS. We just, part of why I did is because we weren't getting a ton of activity, or we were getting people asking us to finance it, and we would prefer to do it cash. And then we had an offer. We're asking $60K for this, and we had an offer for $50, which is a solid offer to close, before the end of the year, which is super tempting to be at 50 and close before the end of the year. We'll still make a good profit. But I also want to maximize the profit. I think we can get closer to 60. So I put it in MLS and got some more interest. So we'll see if we get an offer closer to 60, and then we'll see, which offer we want to take. But at least that even gives us leverage against the people who offered us 50, who are investors, and we'll close quickly. But if we tell them, hey, we've got an offer for 57 or 58 or whatever, then maybe they'll come up a little bit and we can do cash for a little bit more. So, we talked about this before. Having multiple offers gives us, as the wholesaler or the seller, some leverage against other people making offers. So anyway, that was a victory to get that up on there. It cost $149 to do a flat fee listing. With, I guess you can do it for $99 if you only want to put 6 pictures up. If you want to put like up to 24 pictures of the property, then it's $149. So I could have done it either way. I just put a lot of pictures there and did it for $149. Which is still, to me, a great deal if we get, a higher offer, and even pay the real estate agent. Because if we're paying the real estate agent 3% on 60, that's $1,800, and then $150. So it's like it's $2K, but you can split hairs on the numbers. But if we get a full price offer, and it's probably worth it to do it.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it to get more eyes on it and get more potential offers. So yeah. And then the one contract, I'm not sure if that's from direct mail or from, again, I could be a little bit better prepared on this, but Wilson County, I believe that campaign that we did was an SMS campaign. Because the most recent direct mail campaign we have is Cumberland County in North Carolina. So that was from an SMS lead, and I don't know the timeline on that. I like it, Jasper, when you give the timeline of like, we put this campaign out at this time, and then we got the lead at this time, and then we finally closed it. Because I think Wilson we did quite a while ago, And again, by the time I pull this up, it's going to not be good podcasting because it's going to be waiting for me to pull it up. So I'll just vow to be better prepared next time with the timeline and stories. I could do a little story about challenge. We use mobile notaries for things, and this deal that we're closing, the one I mentioned that we sold with the 2 lots that we bought for $3,000 and we're selling for $12,000. That was a multi-property deal with the same seller. So this is a seller who had 3 lots. One of the lots had a house on it that she said was a tear down. So we said, okay, well, we're just going to offer you land value. So we're actually paying $6,000 for 3 lots. We're packaging 2 of the lots as one property, and then the 3rd lot had the tear down house on it, and we're packaging that on its own. So we have a buyer for the tear down house at $20,000, and we have this other buyer that we actually sold to this week at $12,000 for the 2 lots. So we were trying to buy this because same deal. It was only same kind of situation. It was only $6,000 for us to buy this and potentially make whatever we're making, 9 on one and 17 on the other. So that's 26K in profit. So we're like, yeah, it's worth it to just lock this down and not worry about anybody trying to go direct to seller or the seller changing their mind or any of that stuff. Let's get it done. So we've been in the process of trying to buy it. We thought we'd have it bought before now, but there was like an estate file that the closing attorney wanted to pull and make sure everything was in order before they could do the title insurance and close. So finally we got the closing documents this week, like a week after we had expected to, because we've already sold both the properties. So it's a little bit of a deal breaker when both the properties are sold and we were trying to close it to make sure we had control over it. And so then we said the seller is in Maryland. So we had to send a mobile notary to the seller to get her to sign the documents. And this is happening on a Friday. We had just gotten the documents from the closing attorney. And so the person who coordinates that in our team was working with trying to get a mobile notary, and she got somebody locked down, but we're still waiting on documents, back and forth. It fell to me to finalize everything. So I sent the email draft that my transaction coordinator had prepared for me to the mobile notary with all the documents and everything and instructions, and she didn't reply to me. So then Saturday morning comes, and this seller is supposed to sign on Saturday, and I get up and I have nothing from the mobile notary confirming that she's going to be out there and getting everything done. So I'm like, okay. So I called the mobile notary, no answer, voicemail, called her twice, texted her twice. Hey, this is Mark. Just want to make sure you're going to be able to get this done for us today. It had to be done by 2 p.m. It's when the seller wanted it done. No response to SMS, followed up on the email, no response. So then I scrambled to find a mobile notary who could do same day thing. By this time it's late morning, and I get this guy finally. So I went on 123 Notary, which is a good site to know about. 123 Notary. Yeah. I put in the zip code, and there's a list of like a dozen mobile notaries. So I just created a blanket message and just started texting them all like, hey, can you do a closing today? Can you do a closing today? I got to like 8 of them, and I get a text back, yeah, I can do it today. What's the deal? And so I got this guy on the phone. He's like, well, I'm out raking leaves. Got to get these leaves done raking, and then I can get over there. This is funny. You got to let her know that I'll be in my raking clothes. I won't be in my normal, document signing clothes and, all this stuff. He's a character. But and it turned out that it worked out, and he was a professional, and he had done lots of closing documents. He just was like, doing his own thing. And he got the text and he was like, sure, I'll make an extra $100. So, yeah. So anyway, he did end up getting it done a little bit late. And the other comedy of errors piece is that my transaction coordinator, when she put everything into the email for the notary, like all the information, here's the seller's contact info, here's her address, here's her phone number, here's the attorney's contact info, here's my boss, Mark, call him if you need any help, blah, blah, blah. Here are the documents. She put in the mobile notary's phone number instead of the seller's phone number into this email. So what I did is when I got the new guy, I just took the name off, forwarded the whole thing, and put his name on, like, here's everything you need to do. So then he goes to call the seller to coordinate, and he calls the first notary. And the notary goes, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that today. What the heck? Like I'm supposed to be doing that. Oh, my God. And so he calls me up and he goes, what the hell's going on here? Like I just called the number for the seller, and I got another notary who tells me she's supposed to be. And I was like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I got the other notary. And I didn't even have to explain to him. I was like, I said, I got the wrong number for the seller. And I was like, here's the correct number for the seller. And he's like, okay, great. And he called the seller. He didn't even worry about the drama with the other notary. He was just like, okay, just as long as I have the correct number for the seller. And he got it done. But it was just like one of those crazy things where it took me probably 2 hours out of my day on Saturday, where I could have been doing other things or other projects, to just get this thing done. But it was important because it was like whatever I just said, 26, 27K profit. I want to lock that down. So the victory is that this second guy was very professional. He got over there, he got everything signed and everything in the Dropbox to come back to our attorney for hopefully Monday. We can close on maybe Monday afternoon, and then we'll own everything and we can finalize the other transactions with the buyers. Yeah, that's like a story from the field of like how things can go south and how you have to just stay the course and follow through on all these things. And I was in a little bit of a panic because the seller, she had blocked out her time to be available at 2:00 on a Saturday to sign documents, and I didn't want to let her down either.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get the deal done. I wanted to make sure the documents got signed in a timely way, because any as you know, Jasper, every minute, hour, or day that goes by that the seller does not sign the documents is a minute, hour, or day that could be changing their mind, or somebody else could be approaching them on the property or whatever.
Absolutely.
So if you got an appointment with a seller at 2 p.m. to sell their property and sign the documents, you want to make sure you hit that,
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, that's a victory and a challenge at the same time. The victory is we did get the documents signed, so that hopefully locks in a nice profit for us on those two deals from that one seller.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I'll try and be better prepared with the logistics of my deals when we get contracts. And we had a little bit of a drought. We actually only did 3 sales. We started the month strong in November. We sold 3 deals, I think, the first week in November. And we're like, oh, this is great. We got like 16 properties, in dispo. We're going to get up to 10 this month. We're going to break our record. Our record for sold deals in a month for the dispo department is 9. And we've done 8 a bunch of times. We've done 9 once. And so we're like, we're going to sell 10 properties this month. We're going to hit it. We got 3 the first week, and then we ended the month with 3 properties sold. We're like, oh my God, so it was a huge drought. And now we did 2 the first week of this month. So, hey, maybe we can break the record this month. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like Christmas miracles. Here we go,
Yeah.
See what we can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's all I've got. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Good stuff. That was a great story about the notary and everything.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out for you, though.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, what the heck? This person signs up to do the job and then they just ghost. Like, why'd she ghost me? I don't know. Maybe she's doing her job, but you could just say, hey, I can't do this today. Sorry, something came up. Okay, great. Let me move on. But I am thinking I've got somebody lined up. So I'm sort of got this false sense of comfort, but then no confirmation. And I'm like, okay, I gotta do something else. So anyway, thankfully it worked out. Yeah. Thankful for, shout out 123 Notary, right? And shout out to this guy, Kenneth Roseborough's the notary in Maryland. If you ever need a mobile notary in Maryland, this guy's super professional, knocked it out, did a great job, did it on short notice. I'd highly recommend him. His name is Kenneth Roseborough, like Rose with a Borough. So if you're in Maryland, that's a guy. Let's wrap it up with some gratitude appreciations or any inspirational quotes or anything, and we'll shut her down for the week.
Yeah.
Are you ready to jump in with that?
Let's see if I've got any quotes saved here. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't think I have.
Yeah, we've been bad at doing that lately. We both read too much, and then we don't write this thing down or bookmark it.
Yeah, it's harder when you read a physical book because you can't just copy it. That's the one nice thing. If you're reading on your phone, you can easily just highlight something or copy it, and then you could save it. But either way, that's okay. Oh, actually, I will share a brief anecdote that I heard from Alex Hermosi, the video that I mentioned earlier. He shared, or someone was running by him on that day in the life video, and they said no half measures. And I didn't know what it meant, but he went into the big story about it. And basically, he came up with it because one time he was doing a conference and he was doing a long talk. I think it was multiple hours. And he was going through this huge PowerPoint, all these slides. And this time he had a pitch at the end of it. This was kind of before he was kind of a internet celebrity. And so he got through all this stuff and he thought like he did a great presentation and everything. And he said he just skimmed through the last like 10 to 15 slides where he was kind of giving the offer. And he, like, you know how he did on the book launch where he built it up, built it up, built it up, built it up, and he gave it away for free. So he said he kind of just skimmed through that whole process. And he was just like, blah, 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 blah. He just like clicked through it and he was like, all right, this is the price. And he just pretty much like, that was it. And he said it was his worst like conversion ever. I think he got 2 sales out of like 1,000 people, and it was just like his worst thing ever. And so that's when he came up with this term that he says no half measures, which just basically means to him, if you're going to do something, do it, but don't try to do 2 things at once. Which in that presentation, what he was doing was he was caught between trying to give as much value as possible with his presentation or selling. And so he decided to pretty much skimp on the selling because he was trying to give the most value, but then he didn't really do either because it kind of left a weird taste in their mouth where they're like, is he selling me or is he not selling me? And so then he just came up with that where he was like, you're either going to sell and you're going to sell hard and sell confidently, or you're going to not, but don't try to do 2 things at once. And so I like that. But
Nice.
in terms of, yeah, in terms of appreciations, I appreciate people like Alex. I always enjoy listening to him, and grateful for other people that are kind of following suit and giving away a bunch of really good content. Steve Tang's another one of them that you mentioned earlier. But appreciate all those people like that we can continue to get learning and inspiration from. I appreciate everyone who helped me move this week. Appreciate you for the gift card to get some tacos with. That was awesome. And appreciate my new landlords and our new house and new neighborhood, everything like that. It's been really fun to move in this weekend, and it'll be even more fun in a couple weeks when we're settled in. But I appreciate that. I appreciate my team for making that possible, and all the people that I work with that we touch on every week. But I appreciate all the notaries that help me. I really couldn't do this business without Duncan and my other notary, Jonathan. They help me so much, whether it's getting contracts or lock boxes or photos and stuff. Like literally, without them, I wouldn't close any deals pretty much. So I'm really grateful for those 2 guys in particular. But also, you know, if you ever need a notary, 123 Notary is a great website to find a new one. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm in with that.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, checking in.
Yeah.
I thought of one that I was watching a video on YouTube, and it was, I mean, I don't have to talk about the video, but this idea that I've had for myself for a while, like I've been practicing slowing down because I'm a high energy ADD personality, you know, and so I notice when I slow down, things work better in my life if I just move a little bit more slowly than I think is normal. And so I got this thing in my head that I tell myself, go slow to go fast. And I was listening to this podcast, and they said it was a military saying, and they say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare, like where the hare was inefficient because he's bouncing all over the place and so intoxicated by his own speed that he's not really being effective. So like
Yeah.
sometimes just slowing down a little bit can help you see things better and be more effective. So just share that idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I appreciate you doing this with me, Jasper. I know you are a little bit sleep deprived and you've been working your butt off for the last week to get moved into your new place. So great to see you and do this podcast and this mastermind together. And appreciate getting pictures of your new place and Kobe. And I appreciate my health and being able to play pickleball and lift weights and run and play. Excuse me. Shoot baskets. I shot baskets this week, which is super fun. Appreciate my gym for being a great space to go and play and get stronger and faster and fitter. And Yeah, I appreciate the warm weather we've had the last couple of days here. It's just so nice. We had some cold nights, and so it's nice to have it be in the 60s and put on shorts and go outside. It's just easier to be
Yeah.
happy when it's sunny and warm for me. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And yeah, I'm in. And I think that's a wrap. Unless you got any parting words there, Jasper.
No, I think we're all set. So anyone who's listening or watching, thank you, and feel free to leave any comments for our next episode, and we'll see you then.
Yeah. And another thing, I got a free copy of Who Not How in my strategic coach kit. So if you've watched all the way to the end and you want a copy of the book Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy, just send us a message on this podcast and I'll send it over to you. First one to respond in the comments or a DM will gets the book. It's a great book, life-changing.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Signing off.